What actually happens to your fat cells when you walk just 30 minutes a day? It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? No gasping for air, no burning pain, and no soul-crushing exhaustion. Yet beneath that simplicity lies one of the most powerful biological programs the human body has ever evolved. We are often taught that fat loss must hurt, that it requires suffering, intensity, and relentless effort. We are told to run faster, train harder, and push until we break. But science tells a very different story, a quiet one unfolding deep inside your cells, where steady movement, sustained just long enough, unlocks fat-burning pathways designed for endurance, not punishment. Stop counting your steps and put the pedometer down. If you are relying on 10,000 steps to melt your belly fat, you are playing a game that your biology was designed to lose. We have been sold a comfortable lie that movement equals progress, and that a calorie burned walking through the grocery store is the same as a calorie burned with intention. It is not. The human body is the most efficient survival machine on the planet, designed to hoard energy, not waste it. When you walk distracted or slow, your body enters efficiency mode, protecting your fat cells like a miser protects gold. To understand why your daily walk isn't working, you have to understand the hybrid engine concept. Your body is a dual-fuel vehicle, where fuel source number one is glucose or sugar. This is stored in your liver and muscles as glycogen. It is cheap, burns fast, and meant for emergencies. Think of it like rocket fuel for when you run from a tiger or sprint for a bus. Fuel source number two is lipids or fat. This is your reserve tank that burns slow and hot. Even a lean person has enough body fat to walk for weeks without eating. The problem is that most people stay stuck in sugar mode. When you go for a jog and you are panting heavily through your mouth, your body senses high stress. It thinks you are running from a predator, so it shuts down fat burning immediately. It blocks the exit doors of your fat cells because fat takes too long to break down during an emergency. Instead, it dumps sugar into your blood for quick energy. You finish your run exhausted, yet you haven't burned an ounce of actual body fat. Because you burned so much sugar, your brain then screams at you to eat carbohydrates immediately. This is why high-intensity cardio often makes you ravenous. We need to flip the switch and move in a way that signals safety, not danger. This brings us to the golden window, known in clinical physiology as the zone of maximal fat oxidation. Imagine a candle. If you blow on it too hard, the flame goes out, but if you don't give it enough oxygen, it just smokes. You need a perfect steady stream of air to keep the wax melting. Your fat is the wax, and oxygen is the air. To burn fat, you need massive amounts of oxygen delivered to your cells without spiking your heart rate into the panic zone. How do you find this zone without a $500 lab test? You use the sentence test. When you go for your walk tomorrow, try to talk to yourself or call a friend. If you can complete a paragraph without gasping for air, but you would struggle to whistle a tune, you are in the fat-burning zone. If you can whistle, you were walking too slow. That is just transportation. If you can't finish a sentence, you are going too fast. You want to be right on the edge of discomfort, feeling heat building in your body while remaining in total control. The reason many struggle with weight isn't just about calories, it's about mitochondrial dysfunction. Mitochondria are the power plants inside your cells, the furnaces that actually burn the fat. Sedentary people have weak, tiny mitochondria, while athletes have dense, robust ones. Low-intensity, steady-state walking in this specific zone triggers a process called mitochondrial biogenesis. You are literally growing more furnaces by walking correctly for 30 to 60 minutes. You aren't just burning calories for that hour. You are building a bigger engine so that months from now, you will burn more fat even while sleeping. But simply walking at one pace on flat ground isn't enough for the modern world. Biomechanically, flat ground is easy because your body utilizes elastic recoil, the springiness of your tendons to bounce you forward. It's essentially cheating. To strip off visceral belly fat, the dangerous fat around your organs, we need to remove that bounce and add resistance. This is where the incline comes in. You don't need to run, you just need to find a hill or set your treadmill to a 10% incline. Walking uphill eliminates the braking force, turning every step into a pure muscular contraction. Walking uphill doubles the caloric demand without the bone-jarring impact of running. Crucially, it engages the largest muscle groups in the body, known as the posterior chain. The more muscle mass you engage, the more glucose receptors you activate, turning your muscles into a sponge for blood sugar. Try this for 20 minutes with a steep incline with your hands off the rails. Holding the rails reduces the caloric burn by nearly 30%. Swing your arms and drive through the heel. You will sweat more in 20 minutes of incline walking than in an hour of flat walking. Let's talk about the chemistry of the caffeine-cortisol axis. For the adult looking to lose fat, walking in a fasted state is a superior tool when combined with the right catalyst. When you wake up, your insulin levels are at rock bottom, creating the perfect environment for fat release. If you eat a bagel, insulin spikes and the doors to the fat cells lock shut for hours. Instead, wake up and drink black coffee or green tea. The caffeine increases the circulation of free fatty acids in your bloodstream, literally pulling the fat out of storage and putting it into the blood. However, there is a catch. If you drink that coffee and then sit in your car, those fatty acids have nowhere to go. They eventually just get stored again, often right back in the belly. You must use the fuel you liberated by walking immediately after consumption. When you oxidize those free fatty acids, you are completing the biological cycle of unlocking, transporting, and burning. This is how you ensure that the fat you mobilize actually leaves your body rather than just moving from your hips to your waist. It is a precise metabolic window that you must exploit. There is also a mental component we cannot ignore, the dopamine detachment. Look at any sidewalk today and you see people walking with their necks bent, staring at a screen. Biologically, this is a disaster. When your eyes focus on a near object, like a phone, your brain activates the sympathetic nervous system, creating a tunnel vision effect that mimics anxiety. This keeps cortisol high, and as we know, cortisol is the hormone that promotes belly fat storage. To truly lose weight, you need optic flow, the visual experience of the world moving past your eyes as you look ahead. When you look at the horizon or the trees passing by in your peripheral vision, it signals the amygdala, the brain's fear center, to calm down. This lowers your breathing rate and reduces cortisol levels instantly. The rule is simple: no screens. Audiobooks or music are fine, but your eyes must be up and your posture must be tall. This opens the diaphragm, allows for deeper oxygen intake, and lowers the stress hormones that are holding on to your weight. Your body cannot burn fat efficiently if it believes it is under constant psychological siege. Deep inside your calf muscle lies the soleus, a muscle unique in the human body because it is designed not to fatigue. Recent research has shown that the soleus is a metabolic powerhouse, exceptionally good at pulling glucose and lipids out of the blood. But most people walk with a lazy foot, shuffling instead of pushing off. To maximize the metabolic effect, you need a full range of motion. Roll through the entire foot and push off with your big toe, feeling your calf engage. This pumping action clears out metabolic waste products and reduces systemic inflammation. If you cannot walk in the morning, utilize the glucose disposal protocol. Most people sit on the couch after a heavy dinner, which is the worst thing to do. When you sit, the sugar from your meal stays in your blood, raising insulin and leading to fat storage. Walking for just 10 minutes immediately after a meal creates a sink for that glucose. Your muscles suck up the sugar without even needing insulin to do it. This flattens your blood sugar curve and prevents the post-meal crash, allowing your body to get back to burning fat much sooner. One of the biggest misconceptions is the idea that fat simply melts away or leaves through sweat. The scientific reality is that when fat is burned, it undergoes a chemical transformation where most of the mass actually leaves your body through your breath.